So welcome. So let's just take a minute or so to breathe. And if someone else is typing, I'll just extend it a bit. So a full breath in, whatever that is for you. Breathing in life. Breathing in that which we are so often unaware of. It just happens automatically and it's just there. It comes in and it goes out. As long as everything is working fine. What is normal for you today? It's a relief to know that we're being breathed, that we don't have to think about it. But when we would like to tame our mind, to calm our mind, to tame the thinking that we'll talk about today, to tame that and allow more space, that we have the breath that we can look to. We can put our attention on that. You can only have your attention on one thing at a time. That's how it works. Even if it doesn't seem like that. That's how it works. So noticing, having that breath there. That we can lean into to calm our mind in a moment that we need it. To arrive in the present moment as we are here right now together, so many miles apart, yet so close. We are of the same energy, of the same cloth. We're made of the same fabric. And our weaves are unique. Our threads, our colors are unique. Each of you. Your bodies, your breath even. There's a uniqueness. You can only be expressed like that through the body that you have. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So today, floating on the ocean of daily emotion. I admit that it's actually really challenging to pick titles and subjects and all that because it can go in so many different directions. But let's look at this today. And it's about creating your own waves, how we do create our own waves of emotion on this ocean. And sometimes they can seem like they're going to overtake us, that they will overwhelm us like a big, huge wave. It's like we're on it, we're in the waves, we're riding them out, and then all of a sudden it's like, and we get doused. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. So it's really cool to know what's happening. How is this even happening? How are these emotions feel? How is it that they're even there? How is it that they at times were barely aware of them, and at another time it's almost stopped us? because they're so intense, or it feels like they're all coming at once. So we'll review things that we've talked about before. And really the intent is to kind of give you a sense, show you how you have more agency over your experience of life, over your emotions, than you might think when you know how they are produced, what's causing them. And then there's a few cool things to remember, that we can only think one thought at a time. Even though it seems at times that we're being hit all at once with them all. But there's still only one at a time. So by the end, I hope that you will have a sense of how you can ride the waves when you're in them, that it's okay, of how you can tame them, calm them down, mellow them out, just by understanding how it's all happening. How it's all happening. I'm going to pull this one out. That was an extra thought that I had. So, I'm going to invite Harold and the purple crayon to lead the way. And so, let Harold and his purple crayon lead you on a fantastic journey of the imagination. And what is imagination made out of? Thought. The missing link to our experience. So let's begin. Sorry, it might get a little noisy. I'm going to push this back. I should have thought of this. And I'm going to pull this forward a bit. Does this, I think you can read it. I mean, on my screen it looks backwards. Can you just give me a thumbs up that it's the right way for you? Oh, hearts, good. Thank you. Thanks, Suze. Thank you for that. Great. And this is by Crockett Johnson. I'll try to make it so it's not glary. Does that look okay? Okay. One evening, after thinking it over for some time, Harold decided to go for a walk in the moonlight. There wasn't any moon, and Harold needed a moon for a walk in the moonlight, and he needed something to walk on. He made a long, straight path so he wouldn't get lost, and he set off on his walk, taking his big purple crayon with him. But he didn't seem to be getting anywhere on the long, straight path, so he left the path for a shortcut across a field, and the moon went with him. The shortcut led right to where Harold thought a forest ought to be. He didn't want to get lost in the woods, so he made a very small forest with just one tree in it. It turned out to be an apple tree. The apples would be very tasty, Harold thought, when they got red. So he put a frightening dragon under the tree to guard the apples. It was a terribly frightening dragon. It even frightened Harold. He backed away. His hand holding the purple crayon shook. Suddenly he realized what was happening, but by then Harold was over his head in an ocean. He came up thinking fast, and in no time he was climbing aboard a trim little boat. He quickly set sail, and the moon sailed along with him. After he had sailed long enough, Harold made land without much trouble. He stepped ashore on the beach, wondering where he was. The sandy beach reminded Harold of picnics, and the thought of picnics made him hungry. So he laid out a nice, simple picnic lunch. There was nothing but pie, but there were all 9 kinds of pie that Harold liked best. When Harold finished his picnic, there was quite a lot left. He hated to see so much delicious pie go to waste. So Harold left a very hungry moose and a deserving porcupine to finish it up, and off he went, looking for a hill to climb to see where he was. Harold knew that the higher up he went, the further he could see, so he decided to make the hill into a mountain. If he went high enough, he thought, he could see the window of his bedroom. He was tired, and he felt he ought to be getting to bed. He hoped he could see his bedroom window from the top of the mountain. But as he looked down over the other side, he slipped, and there wasn't any other side of the mountain. He was falling in thin air. But luckily, he kept his wits and his purple crayon. He made a balloon and he grabbed onto it, and he made a basket under the balloon big enough to stand in. He had a fine view from the balloon, but he couldn't see his window. He couldn't even see a house. So he made a house with windows, and he landed the balloon on the grass in the front yard. None of the windows was his window. He tried to think where his window ought to be. He made some more windows. He made a big building full of windows. He made lots of buildings full of windows. He made a whole city full of windows, but none of the windows was his window. He couldn't think where it might be. He decided to ask a policeman. The policeman pointed the way Harold was going anyway, but Harold thanked him. And he walked along with the moon, wishing he was in his room and in bed. Then suddenly Harold remembered. He remembered where his bedroom window was when there was a moon. It was always right around the moon. And then Harold made his bed, and he got in it, and he drew up the covers. The purple crayon dropped on the floor, and Harold dropped off to sleep. You all have this purple crayon. You're creating with it every moment of every day as you move around through your life. The crayon is it's the imagination, it's the thought, it's the energy of the formless coming into form. in a vision or a picture, and we're drawing it, we're creating it. You're creating it in your mind. It looks like it's all created out there already. But we're actually creating with the thought that forms around or about those things in our life. Whether it's our kids or our home or our bodies or our relationships. We're creating that experience. We are delighting ourselves. We're satisfying ourselves. We're scaring ourselves. We produce the feelings that we experience with our own powerful and very helpful ability to think, to have thoughts, to have these thoughts come. And they can come from two places. When it's coming from our own personal mind, it's the past. It's what's known. When it's a new and fresh idea, something new, something sparked, it's coming from the universal mind, or that energy that is living and breathing, animating us all, that equalizes us all. I'm going to say that sometimes when an idea seems to come up fresh, it's almost like, oh, it's a freshened thought. Like, oh, I've had that thought before. That's, so don't get confused with the, oh, I've thought it before, so it's the past. So it's all about the feeling. The feeling that the thought produces in you. That is key. Because if it's feeling good, if it's the initial thought, when it initially comes out, if it's having you feeling good, cool, excited, alive, neutral, calm, peaceful, grateful, thankful, anything that is just feeling what we might just call good. That's a thought you can follow. I mean, you can follow any thought you like. And sometimes we have thoughts that, are rocky. They're big, wavy. We can also have delightful thoughts, very excited thoughts that are big and wavy. And we are made to ride them out. And the more we try and grab on and get stiff and try and stop or grab on for more that feels good, it can make it feel harder. When we're grabbing on to the ones that we don't want because we're trying to push them away, we're trying to stop thinking like that. That actually hangs on and makes the ride rougher. And then there's the ones that are feeling good, and those too, if we're trying to hang on to them, or it might seem like going back to them, whatever. Sometimes even that can take us in a place where it's like we're missing them. It almost takes us to a place of their absence because it was such a good time. Have you ever had such a good time at something and you had gone, gone out with, or had a family over and everyone got along so well and it was just so fun and you just wanted to do it again, so you did it again, and then the next time it was just like, oh, it just didn't turn out the same. It's like we can take something from the past and want to superimpose it on the moment at hand. I'm doing this forward thing, but really there's only the moment. And we try to superimpose it. It's like this is exactly how we want it to be. And then even though it could have still been a lovely time, we might feel a little disappointed. And it weighs it down a little bit if we're taking something from the past and trying to make it now. So when we can see that we're always drawing with our purple crayon every moment of every day. Every moment of every day. This is powerful stuff. Good stuff. This is exciting stuff. It's exciting because just you see how Harold drew that scary dragon and then scared himself with it. And just as quickly he drew the ocean to escape. We're doing that all the time. When we see how thought is the only thing between what we're feeling and anything outside of us that we believe is what's causing us to feel that way, we have more power. We have more choice. And when you can get that, the more we just recognize that thoughts are the purple crayon and I can draw something else. Or this, it might be easier, another analogy, that they are thoughts or clouds. Our thoughts are just like clouds in the sky. They're always moving. And they form and they dissipate and they form and they dissipate. They show different pictures. They show little duckies and dragons and lions and rainbows but they come and go. They come and go. What to do? What to do when we're caught in a tidal wave and we already feel like we're, if there's feelings of depression or burnout or, it's all stress, it's all chronic stress or stress of some level, some duration. And the only thing that causes that is our own thinking about all the things that we need to do, we must do, we have to do, that this happened and I wish I didn't do that and why did I do that and oh my gosh, how am I going to undo that? Or we can weigh ourselves down with it, or we can take it and just get curious and one thing that I always like to say, it's like, notice, because the more you notice, the more something different will make more sense to you to do. Oh, I noticed that when I'm in this, I was going to invite you to, if you wanted to just do an experiment with yourself in just taking an hour of your day or 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, and just take your temperature. How big is the wave? What is it? What are you feeling? What's the emotion? And there might not be much, or there might be something. And when we notice what was going on, because often we're not even aware of the thought that was on our mind that caused this feeling, because thoughts and feelings rise together. It's like you can't have the one without the other. So when we start to notice that, we'll catch on. It's like we're catching on to ourselves. Ah, gotcha. You must have been thinking something really stressful. Because when I'm checking in, everything's all tight and tense. Ugh. You don't even need to know what the thought was. In my experience, I started to become more aware of them. I started to catch thoughts. I don't really spend much time wondering about what the thoughts exactly were, where they're coming from, all of that. It doesn't really matter. I find it helpful sometimes when I do know what the thoughts are, and I like to look at what are the facts of the situation. Hi, Lori. Oh, one moment. When I'll look at the facts of the situation. If there's something I'm really caught up in, it's like, okay, what are the facts here? Because usually it feels like there's got to be 20 of them. And it'll all come down to there's only like 1 or 2 or 3 facts. Things that anyone looking in on the situation would agree, yep, that's a fact. Everything else is thought-created stories. So it's really great. And you have, because we are like mind, consciousness, thought, we have our personal mind, yes, but we have this universal mind. We have consciousness. We have the ability to be aware. We have the ability to put our attention to know when we're lifting it off of one thing and putting it on another. We can be aware of that. What is attention? Our thoughts. When we put our attention on something, we're putting our thoughts on it. The thought in the moment may not, there may not be a lot of meaning put to it. So then there's not a lot of emotion coming up. Or what we're looking at, what we're putting our attention or our thoughts on, we might have a lot of meaning around it. That means the thoughts are there. We're putting meaning on that. We're making it mean something, and we are feeling that. So if we're just looking at a rock on a gravel road where there's a million other rocks, we're not really going to feel very much about it. And then all of a sudden we see something glistening, sparkling, shining in amidst all of these dull, gravelly rocks. And it's like we have different emotion coming up because we have thoughts of, is it a gem or what is there? Curiosity, all kinds of things can come up. Lori, I've been trying to take a pause when I start feeling the waves. That is what you do. That is absolutely the best thing to do. Allow yourself that space. Just notice when it's happening. There's not really anything to do when you understand what's going on. And at times it can be helpful to do something, like the example I just gave. Or you might want to look, okay, what are the facts here? Okay, yes, this, yes, that. And it's just like, come on, there's got to be more to this. You will start to see the humor in how, not just you, how we all work. You will start to see how the waves are internally created, and they are only experienced within you. No one else can experience your waves. You are the creator and the experiencer of them. And this is marvelous. Because can you imagine if it really worked how we think it does? That we're truly experiencing everyone else. If we were to experience everyone else's thinking, and I've seen shows about that, right? Or, some of them have been humorous, some of them have been scary, where they are hearing thoughts. But even with that, if someone tells you what they're thinking, the only experience that you have of their thought is what you are making of it. So if your daughter chooses to wear shorts, 350 days of the year, even through winter, the only thing, no, I'm talking about me, the only thing I'm experiencing about her thought that it's my legs. I don't get cold. My legs don't really get cold. If my core gets cold, then I get cold. I can have all kinds of thinking about that, and I'm the only one that's feeling it. So I feel way less now. And sometimes I feel very strongly about it. And I know that's because of how I'm thinking. It has nothing to do with her. The facts are, she doesn't get cold easily. And she likes the freedom of wearing shorts. And, well, nothing's happened yet. Like, there's nothing yet. That's like, those are the facts. What are you hearing in this? Or you can say what you're hearing, or maybe there's a question, or... Oh, I wanted to share one more thing. So, yeah, I would love to hear, like, do you have a question or a challenge, or, like, what do you mean? Like, how does that work here? Or what about when? Another thing to do, if there's something to do, that I find helpful. And it makes sense. Like, it makes sense to me. Because what makes sense is that when I put my attention on something that I have a lot of thinking about, that it's wrong or shouldn't be like that or something like that, I'll get caught on something. Like for a while I was caught on the wearing shorts when it's cold. It's like, what do I want instead? Like, now in this case, there's someone else involved in my story. It's like, what do I want instead? I want her to be healthy and safe. It's been a few winters and she seems to be healthy and safe. So it's like, what do you want? If you're in a place in your life where you're having a lot of thinking about a number of things maybe that are kind of on your mind and they just keep changing out. Here's the thoughts about this thing, and then there's the thoughts about that thing, and then the thoughts about that thing come in, and then the thoughts about that thing. And they just kind of spin. That can happen, and that's a great time I mean, first of all, to just notice it's happening. Know that it's thoughts. Know that you might do the fact thing, or you might just say, okay, I'm not enjoying how I'm feeling here. What do I want instead? Because when you open up that question to who you really are, who you are more of, to all of you, all of who you are, you will get an answer. You will get a response. You will get guidance from within, from the energy that lives and breathes you. And it's just a matter of testing it out and checking, like, really? I'm testing it out. I'm testing it out in different areas in my life. If you were here yesterday, I did a little thing in the morning lying in bed when I saw my clock was 5:08, and I snuggled back in bed, and it was going off at 5:15, and and then I thought, okay, I'm just gonna ask. It's like, okay, what do I do? Or I can't remember the words that I don't know that I even said them out loud, but it's just like, what do I do, kind of thing, a thought, and then it's like, and an image of me out for a walk flashed in. And I went, no. And then I caught it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I got this little nudge. I got this message from within. I didn't think the thought. And I was trying to push it away. It's like, oh my goodness. This is infinite energy and potential that's always got my back, just as it's got yours. I think we can trust it. And I think the only way that we're going to know is to do it. And I dare say there are many instances that we can look back on in our life where it seemed that we were just really lucky, or there were so many coincidences, or that worked out really well. And I think there's always something that's orchestrating things and guiding us in the way of feeling better. It is experiencing through us. It is expressing through us and then experiencing it. Hi, Suze. Oh, Sue, so I don't like how I'm feeling here. What do I want to feel instead? Yeah. Yes. You can, yeah, and often we'll say, what do I want? And I even say it, what do I want? But the want, or you might hear in true desire, in, vibration and attraction and all that, it's not so much the thing, a thing, it's the feeling. It's all about the feeling. The feeling will let you know when you're following the guidance of your true nature and when you're resisting it. In bed, no, don't want to go for a walk. And it's like, oh my gosh. And it was an opening up of like, I'm going for a walk. And of course I was glad I went for a walk. So, yes, the feeling will guide you. So when you look to, how do I want to feel instead? As soon as you pick up your attention from all the turmoil, all the big waves, and let it light. And there might be something that comes up. You might say, what do I want? And it's like, oh, I need to get outside. Oh, you get outside and it's like, oh, it feels so good. You will always be guided to the way that feels better. Moment to moment. And that will change over time. The more aware you care to be, the more willing you are to notice things. In my experience, that means, like Lori said, to pause or slow down a bit. Just go a half a step slower, even. Allow yourself some space. Headspace. However that works for you. Because what works for you, like I'm sharing things that have worked for me, and I try to share things that I've seen work for others. I've worked with people where, there was different things that seemed to work for them. Sometimes I wasn't even quite sure what worked, but something happened. Because we don't actually know. But you know there's something within you. Your true nature will guide you in the way that's best for you. We are not a one size fits all in that. But it's good to share. It's good to share, this is what worked for me. But really, just know that you already have everything within you that you need to experience calm. Or, even if it's rough, because even when the waves are rough, you can still experience calm. Even when things are turned upside down around you, you can still experience calm. And where there's calm, where there's a little more space in your mind, where it's a little calmer, you will hear your true nature guidance easier. And then you have a choice of whether you're going to listen or not, or whether you're going to snuggle back into bed and not follow the little nudges. So, in the three principles, this understanding of the three principles of mind, consciousness, and thought, it's very much about that there's nothing to do. And I get that there isn't. And sometimes I find it easier to do a little something if it's going to help me along to calm my mind. So, asking myself, what do I really want here? How do I want to be feeling? Okay, I can see what I'm doing is not. I can see how me wanting to have a more peaceful time here. Here's an example. My Rob's mom and dad are coming in for Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. They're coming in from out of town this weekend, and it's like, I have a number of things I need to clean and pick up, and dog hair and all that kind of stuff. Just we can put up with a lot here, but I do like to have it tidier and cleaner when they come. So it's like, there's been some things that I've been avoiding, putting it off, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then I heard yesterday that they're leaving today, staying overnight. That means they're going to be here tomorrow morning. So I wasn't expecting that. It's like, ooh. It's like, okay. So when I found that out, it's like, all right. I started picking up because it made sense. It's like, okay, right. I'm starting to feel the pressure. That doesn't make sense. Just start doing things. You'll be guided on simple things. The feeling will guide you. Yes, Suze. Absolutely. Yeah. I had this other little note that I'd seen. It was something else. I don't know where it came up to today, but talking about creativity, thinking about Harold and his purple crayon, and how creativity like that, you are creative energy. We all are that. We are formless and made into form. But really, the most of us is formless energy. And of course, we're all made out of it. It's not linear, it doesn't go in a straight line. And it's in the moment, like how it was for Harold. In the moment, creating things, that's how it works. That's how it works all the time. That's how you've been living your life every moment of every day since you've come out, probably even in the womb. I don't know what happens in there. Hi, Lori. Lori, I usually throw whatever needs tidying into bags and hide them away. Shh, I'm going to do that too. Excuse me. Yeah. I have a stack of books all around in my nightstand right now, and they're going to be staying in our room, and we're pulling in our camper, and we're going to stay on the driveway just because, so then everyone has a bed. And yep, I'll be doing a lot of that and sticking them in here. It works. Yeah, see, even that. It's like it's creativity going in all different kinds of directions. So we're always doing it. Notice, just for fun, notice how you're creating when, after you leave the call today, over the next 24 hours, just notice how everything that you do, you're basically, imagine that you have a purple crayon in your hand and you're making a line everywhere you go. You're creating it, drawing out with your thoughts what it means, squiggles, teeth, hair, fuzz, teddy bears. Fun, right? When we can look at it in this way. We are fun creatures. And the more we are aware of that, the more delight we can have in our life, the more that's available to us. The more you will naturally let things go that are just weighing you down. There might be obligations, there might be things that you need to do. I don't clean my house like I used to. I was never I'm not a really great house cleaner anyway. Great house cleaner. I'm comparing it to how it was when I was a kid, because every Saturday was house cleaning day. And it was cleaned. Everything was cleaned and mopped, and spring and fall, everything was washed. All the walls, Mom used to wash all the walls off and wash all the curtains, and yeah. So I don't know, there's just things that didn't make sense to do. It's like, it doesn't matter. They don't really care. And if they do care, it's like, oh well, that's not, whatever. I'm okay with it. I feel okay. I have no control over anyone else's thoughts, therefore their feelings. Does that give us free reign to do whatever the heck we want? We just won't. Some might hear that and think, oh, well, what does that mean? That we're going to walk around and not consider other people? By nature, we are kind and loving. So we won't intentionally do those things. Sometimes when we're all caught up in our thinking, we're thinking they're they're attacking us, or whenever they, or I don't know, let me just think of, I've had thoughts before about house and that kind of thing, like, oh my God, it's all on me. And, it's like, doesn't anyone clean up around here? And, true story, the bathroom cleaning stuff, toilet and all that, has been in the downstairs bathroom for about 2 weeks now. I put it there, didn't do it. No one else has either. No one else is doing anything with it. True story. So I could look at it as like, oh, why doesn't someone else do it? Why is it always on me? And the truth is, it's not always on me. But I can go there, and then I can be like, I'll be the one with the teeth, to them. It's like, no, I'm not going to create no, I'm not going to do that. So we actually are, when we allow ourselves more grace and space and understand how we're creating our experience, our relationships get better. That's my experience. I've been in this understanding for 3 years now, just over 3 years. That was the first thing that started to change, was conflict. And then for a while, in a short period, probably for just a few weeks, I saw how, I was still experiencing a lot of prickliness, because we were very prickly towards each other. We were all protecting ourselves. And the only way we needed to do it was to be more offensive or defensive or whatever. Anyways, it didn't feel good, and it didn't create a really nice dynamic in our household. And this understanding brought that in. And I didn't do it. It started with me, because I had this understanding, but like, we're all being lived by the same stuff. They got all of the same know-how in them as you do, as I do. The best I can tell is that when I got less prickly, they got less prickly too. What we put out, we're going to get back. Anyway, things have changed a lot. And I was going to share that there was a period about 3 months in where I really became almost like hypersensitive to any kind of, like, I became aware of all of the prickliness everywhere I went in my life. Outside, in the grocery store, in in our house, and it's just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to function with all this prickliness? And I don't even exactly know what happened, but it just all kind of passed. I think just resting in that, in who we are, that we are infinite good stuff, and not just us, like everybody else too. It just allowed for more room for everyone to be who they are, and knowing that they're just doing the best they can too, just like we are. I hope this was helpful in some way for you. It felt good for me. So thank you for your space and comments, and it's good to talk and share about these things. Lori, very helpful. I'm so glad, Lori. It really helps to be in community and, share these things. Susan, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. And nice to see you. Have we met before? You don't have to respond if you don't want to. I'm so happy to be here in this room. You came in late, first time. Well, welcome. And very nice to meet you, Suzanne. Thank you. I am recording these, and I still have the link. In full disclosure, there's been in the last. It's funny because sometimes you can't even remember. It's like, what did we talk about yesterday? Francesca, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. I've been noticing my bandwidth and how many things I was trying to, I was trying to do something else outside of Insight Timer and, planning it and it just, I kept getting that message, like the one that I got in bed, go for a walk. And I just felt like I was pushing it or forcing it. And it's like, no, I really want to do it. And what became so clear yesterday, yes, Mick-eye-la, you really want to do it, and you're going to do it. It's not going to look as what I was planning, which I knew, but not now. Not now. So, and then, I don't know why I was telling you that. It was about space. Right. That's why I was telling you that. Because I'm screen recording this to make them available after. I'm audio recording too, because sometimes the screen records almost look stroby, so I ditch those and then they'll just be an audio. But I only have 8 up, and I just found it's like I need more space to take care of things in here because I love it so much, this platform and the community. It feels good, so I'd like to do more in here. So over the next week and a half, I've committed to getting them up. I like them to go up in order. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it makes a difference, but so thank you for being here. And thank you for your presence. I hope you have the most delightful rest of your week. If this felt good to you, if anything resonated, then I'd love to see you again. If you want to follow, that'd be great. Next week, I might actually do one before, but one that I knew I wanted to do was on listening, and that's next Thursday. I can't remember the time offhand, but that is going to be interesting, and the impact of listening on ourselves and on the people around you and on the quality of your life. Hi, Mick. Thank you. Been a blessing. I'm so glad. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I hope to see you then, if not before. Okay. Ciao. Love to you.